Bitcoin is super bullish right now, guys, on the higher time frame. However, I just took a small short scalp trade on Bitcoin. Let me explain where I think Bitcoin is gonna go in the next couple of hours and where's the best closest long trade to be had, especially because Bitcoin, as I've said, is very bullish, holding the most important support line. If we keep holding it, I think we might have some amazing longs over on Bitcoin. So let's get right into the TA. As you can see, I've basically been mentioning how important the breakout of the level of $113,000. I've said that Bitcoin will be super bullish once we break this level, and we actually have broken out of it. We can clearly see how this line of resistance was, or this line was actually resistance, and now it has flipped into support. We can clearly see those wicks failing to break this level as resistance, and now finally, I think in the past 48 hours we have finally broken out of it, and we are technically bullish because, as I've said, the breakout out of $113,000 means that we are technically bound to see a rise up to $120,000 over on Bitcoin. However, let me explain where is the closest trades on Bitcoin and why I just took a short scalp trade on Bitcoin, disregarding the current bullishness on Bitcoin. So right now, as a trader, I don't care about the higher time frame when taking a scalp, especially if there's a good reaction and a meaningful reaction onto my resistance line and my support line. As you can see, technically, yes, I'm super bullish. I'm holding onto most of my coins, most of my longs on Bitcoin. However, the reason why I took a short, as I've explained, I think in my previous video, because we have a small, I think, resistance, an important resistance at $115,700. So although I have many longs on Bitcoin, on Ethereum and other altcoins, I decided to take a short to hedge my longs, as you can see, to hedge my account against any possible, I think, pullback on Bitcoin and any other coin. As you can see, technically, it is only a small short on Bitcoin. That doesn't mean me being bearish or predicting Bitcoin to fall much lower. The second Bitcoin falls to like 1% more, falls to like 114.5, I'm gonna lock in the first TP1 and then move my stops to break even. That way I'm guaranteed that whether Bitcoin keeps dropping, I'm gonna be hedged and having a small scalp short. And if Bitcoin, which is very likely bouncing from the next long idea I'm gonna share, then we can easily hit my break even, stop loss, not lose any money, however just make a small profit on the short and then keep holding onto my long, especially because, as I've explained, technically if we keep holding $113,000, the level and the target is $120,000, especially on the lower time frame. If we see a break out of this orange line at 115.7, then we can quickly see a very large and strong rise from 115.7 up to 118 very relatively quickly, to be honest. So now, once I've mentioned me being very bullish, me holding into a small scalp short, let me explain also where's the closest long to be had on the lower time frame. I think this is a very great idea for a long, to be honest. Technically, on the lower time frame, let's go to the 15-minute time frame. We can clearly see that we got a cluster of support sitting at around 114.5 down to 114.250. As you can see, this area is very crucial, to be honest, and could actually offer us an amazing long on Bitcoin. So I'm waiting for a drop to take a profit on my small scalp and then possibly get into a new long on Bitcoin, with the idea of us giving a greater action and then bouncing back, hitting 115.7. If we actually see this, there's a huge possibility of us breaking it and get a nice swing long and holding it for much longer. However, if this idea fails, say Bitcoin right now drops, hits 114.5 to 114.2 and doesn't offer us this long, technically I'm gonna be waiting for my next long idea, which is basically retesting this important resistance and support flip, as you can see, taking and liquidating everybody and then possibly looking for a great reaction like this. So this is the much harder trade. However, we've got a small scalp trade on the level of $114.5 thousand. Thanks for watching, guys.